Right now on the line with me is Dan Baker, the voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, Philadelphia Eagles, pretty much just Philadelphia sports, the PA announcer at Citizens Bank Park and Lincoln Financial Field. Legendary Dan Baker on the line. Dan, firstly, I wanted to ask, how did you get your start as an announcer? Was there a moment of discovery by another individual, or did you hear yourself say something and realize you had something special?
Well, Jay, actually growing up in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area, I was a pretty good athlete as a youngster, and like many American boys growing up, had visions of one day playing professional sports. But as dawns on 99% of us, at some point in our lives, as we mature into adults, I wasn't good enough, athletically to play at the professional level. And I always wondered how I could stay close to, the sports scene, because I was just so, I can remember when my father first took me to a Phillies game at 21st Street and Lehigh Avenue, the old Connie Mack Stadium, and I just was awestruck by, seeing all that green grass in the middle of the city and hearing the fans cheering and seeing the big scoreboard. It was a Valentine scoreboard in those days in right center. The sights, the sounds, the smells, the sausage sandwiches, the hot dogs, the soft pretzels and all those kind of things. Cigar smoke even. I'm not a smoker, but it just had a neat smell to me. And I thought, man, this is so neat. And of course, I rooted for everything Philadelphia with all my heart. And I thought it would be great if I could be a part of this someday. Way back, I had hoped as an athlete, but then, in my college years, as I was an undergraduate at Glassboro State, I realized it just wasn't good enough, and that's, Jay, when I began thinking about maybe another approach. When I used to play pickup games, football, baseball, basketball, I would mimic, the PA announcers of the day, Dave Zinkoff of the old Philadelphia Warriors and later the 76ers, and some of the play-by-play guys like a Bobby Tom or a Bill Campbell or a Gene Kelly. And I used to imitate them, and I think I imitated them fairly well. But one thing about playing a lot of sports, it did help me to gain a good knowledge. And so that has helped me as an announcer, in that I know one thing. When I can listen to some guys on the radio, and to me it's obvious they haven't played sports. There's certain things that, you can anticipate, and there's certain nuances that you would be familiar with as a participant, and if you weren't, you might not be aware of those things. But I feel like I'm very lucky. I did play 2 years of junior varsity basketball at Glassboro State, and in my last 2 years I actually worked full-time in the mailroom at the old Channel 48 WKBS TV at 3201 South 26th Street in Philadelphia, and I started doing statistics, football, basketball, for the play-by-play announcer at the station, Stu Nahan, also a children's star at the station as Captain Philadelphia, and known to many as the play-by-play announcer in the Rocky movies, the white-haired gentleman at ringside. Through Stu, I met other announcers. Another announcer that I met at Channel 48 was Buddy Wagner, the old ring announcer for both. He kind of created the Michael Buffer days. He was very good dresser and very colorful and dramatic, and in his announcing style. And
right.
I used to imitate him, and as a matter of fact, I actually filled in. Buddy was the first a big-time ring announcer for the WWF. This was before the WWF became really big. Vince McMahon Sr. was the promoter. This was before Vince McMahon Jr., his son. And on those rare occasions when Buddy couldn't do the ring announcing, I filled in for him. So I got a little experience experience that way. And then through all these statistics jobs and spotting jobs, I got to meet announcers and learn their styles, and I studied them, working next to them as I would assist them by writing down the number of passes that a quarterback threw, the number of passes that he completed, and for how many yards, and who carried the ball, and how many times, and for how many yards, and which receiver caught the football, and how many receptions he made, and how many yards he gained, and all of those things. So, one thing led to another. I was always pretty good at networking, and that's very, very important because no matter how talented you are, you need some help along the way. And so, Jay, a lot of people were kind enough to help me here and there and help open doors. And then once you get the opportunities, you have to make the most of them.
I fully agree with that, and all that included there. So many things in there that I could ask follow-up questions about, but the one thing that jumped out at me that I've never heard about you before was you announcing for World Wrestling Federation. So with all that there, and the one thing I got to ask about is who are some of the wrestlers that you remember calling matches for or calling out to the ring? Like, who stands out in your memory? Was it like Greg Valentine and those guys, or was it even before those guys were around?
Bruno Sammartino was the heavyweight champion of the world. He was ultimately replaced by Gorilla Monsoon and Dick the Bulldog Brower. And I'm going way, way back. I don't know if you remember these names, and you're probably too young. Their careers may have ended before you were born. The brief period, Joey, where I did this ring announcing for the WWF was in the late 1960s. 68, 69, 70, and Tony Altamori, Lou Albano, Bull Ortega.
Yeah, anybody that grew up on wrestling, I think, is going to know the names Captain Lou, Gorilla Monsoon, and they have to absolutely know Bruno Sammartino. But on to the next thing, Dan. The Eagles season ended much sooner than most fans likely would have hoped for. And a couple months until the Phillies come north. So a lot of people would like to know, what do you do during the downtime? I know you call Drexel games. What do you do besides that during the downtime between seasons?
Okay, Jay, it's a good question. I've always worn a number of hats. I've been very, very lucky. The full-time jobs in my life, when I went to Glassboro State College, I graduated in 1968, all of the majors were teacher preparation courses, and I majored in junior high school education. When I graduated from Glassboro State in 1968, I taught school in the school district of Philadelphia for 12 years. That was my full-time job during the day, and where I derived the vast majority of my income. Later, after I left teaching in 1980, I became the executive director of the Philadelphia Big Five from 1981 through 1996. And then beginning in 1997, I moved over here to Drexel University, where I've been the director of broadcasting and now coordinator of broadcasting since 97. And, of course, above and beyond those full-time jobs where I, got my health benefits and, retirement and stuff like that, I did, the Phillies on the side, the Eagles on the side. I did the radio play-by-play for Temple football from 77 through 83. I co-hosted the Army football highlights that were syndicated on national cable television for 3 years, from 83 through 85. I did the radio play-by-play for Penn football from 86 through 88. Big Five basketball radio play-by-play from 1977 to 1998. Started, with the Phillies PA in 72. This is my 40th year coming up. I am the senior PA announcer in all of Major League Baseball with the retirement of the great Bob Shepard of the Yankees. I just completed my 26th year with the Philadelphia Eagles. And another thing that I've added to my repertoire, Jay, in the last half dozen dozen years or so is people hire me for weddings and bar mitzvahs, and I'll wear my tuxedo, just like I do for opening day at the Phillies or for World Series games or All-Star games, and I'll announce the grandparents of the bride and groom, the parents of the bride and groom, the groomsmen, the bridesmaids, the maid of honor, the best man, and the new